Hello everyone, and welcome to another Boldcast reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
Today we're reacting to Tower of God, one of the new shows that is super hyped up. It's second in popularity only to Kaguya-sama, which you can go watch our reaction to on our channel. But we basically know nothing about the show. We watched a couple things that told you what the most popular or most hyped shows for the season are going to be, and people seem to be really liking the show. We don't know what's going on. We know that it's based on a Korean webtoon or manhwa. I'm not sure if webtoon is incorrect, but that is become very popular. Got its own anime adaptation in Japan, so we're excited to see it. We're along for the ride, but we don't know anything about it, and that's how we like to go into shows when possible. But yeah, so check out our other reactions. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of our reactions to this show. We're catching up so we can start posting newer episodes as they come out. But yeah, let's get started. Tower of God, episode 1. Do you have any thoughts right off the bat?
I guess, I don't know, it was definitely interesting, definitely very different
Than what you were thinking it was going to be?
than what I was thinking it was going to be, for sure. I mean, I guess I didn't really know too much about it, so I could, but I don't know.
This is a popular genre of anime, like the Death Game, quote-unquote, series, where it's like it's like a shonen action series where a bunch of contestants fight for some sort of thing, and it's one can climb to the top or whatever. It's a bunch of, it's a more of a game rather than, whatever, fight some another shonen series where they're just fighting for a goal on their own, in their own right or something like that. They're all sort of competing against each other, and a bunch of set rules are in place and the settings picked for them. It said Crunchyroll original. I'm not sure what that's about. I'm sure if
I
it's
think it's like a Netflix original.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. But Crunchyroll was known for, they made a really crappy anime a couple years ago or something. So I wasn't sure if that was anything to do with that. Anyway, as far as the show, it seems very almost all archetypes and metaphor for life or for achieving your goals and stuff like that. He has to venture sort of into the abyss where the Leviathan is there, this agent of chaos. It's you can kind of see where you're going, but you don't really know what you're going to do when you get there. Once he gets to the little black orb thing that is supposedly going to transfer him, and even before he gets there, it's like you're standing in front of this giant monster, and you know that what you want is beyond it, but some people can't bring themselves to take that first step. That's depression or whatever. It's a metaphor for this chaotic presence in your life, and so it makes sense the metaphor is there. And then it's only with this dark blade that he can what would normally be your shadow, archetypally speaking, this dark part of yourself, or this sort of demonic presence, we see that in Naruto with the nine-tailed fox and with a bunch of stuff. You have to use this dark part of yourself and sort of give in to whatever is going to happen. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen regardless. That sort of thing. It's a very metaphorical, very archetypal way of looking at the world and achieving your goals, and that's what climbing the tower is. It's a bunch of people are all in the world and in real life are all climbing their own tower. They're all trying to reach their own goal, and climbing to the top of it is a good way for that metaphor, because you're climbing towards the heavens, towards the stars as they reference in the show, towards your dreams, etc. It's a really it's really drawing on a lot of basic shonen concepts in order to illustrate what it wants for its plot. And it's not super quote-unquote original so far, but hopefully it'll take a turn where it gets a little more interesting in the future as far as introducing new things, maybe throwing us for a loop. Right now, it seems like they got a really solid base as far as I'm concerned, and I really want to see them sort of take it a little bit further, because right now they throw a lot out at you in the first episode and sort of ask you to play catch-up, and I'm willing to follow them there. I just want to see a little bit more. We're going to watch episode 2 right after this. But did you have anything that you wanted to touch on?
I guess sort of the reason that I'm a little bit hesitant to fully dive into the show and be super invested is I am invested in the main character and his story and how he's going after the girl that he's in love with. And I'm really interested in their backstory, because he was obviously in some kind of weird pit or cave or something, and she came and found him. So that's obviously I hope that like that
Go somewhere.
Yeah, like,
or like we find out more
I'm
about
thinking
that, or...
like I'm kind of hoping like maybe every episode we find out a bit more about the backstory, or if there's an entire episode sort of dedicated to it, that would be great as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of taken aback when they go into like this battle royale game, because just judging by, I don't know, just sort of like the concept, it seems like more of like a fantasy style story rather than like guys with guns running around, and then like I guess like the monsters and like crazy stuff makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm interested in like where all these people came from, and also if he's an irregular and he's not supposed to be able to get in, I'm wondering how other people get in, because they're talking about like, oh, he just got in without doing anything, so I'm kind of wondering what everyone else had to like do.
I'm not sure, and I kind of missed that as well. I think that the regulars don't have to do like that test of courage.
Yeah, I said that
like,
when we were watching as well, but I'm just wondering how they even get in there, you know?
Well, just like how his girl, like Rachel or whatever her name is, I think her name is Rachel, but she just sort of disappeared and went there when she decided to do it. She didn't have to like overcome this hurdle of like this test of courage and like proving to herself and everyone else that she can, that she is courageous enough to take this. She just sort of was there at that point. Yeah. So I think. But
they're saying like he opened the gate by himself, and that's assuming everyone else doesn't
someone
open
else
it
like
by
brings them there,
or they ask to be brought there at another point, or so I'm not sure. I guess it's kind of hard to make predictions like.
Well, there seems to be a lot of religious allusions to this, like a lot of symbolism. Like I said during the reaction that was like, oh, Stars of David? Well, yeah, because it's the Tower of God, and they're reaching for the heavens and the stars, and that's what the Star of, like this, it's the Star of David. It all kind of makes sense. It's a theme that they're building here of this like religious mythos. They're blending this all together, and it doesn't seem. It seems planned. It seems like or if it wasn't planned, the writer had sort of a theme or an idea of the aesthetics in mind as far as the story content and how it all relates to each other. Because like I was talking about before, it is very metaphorical, and it does seem kind of like an old school style myth as opposed to like a modern shonen, something like that. Like they're sort of bringing it back to basics in that way.
It's sort of like, yeah, like I feel like that's like they sort of have like this old style like story of like, oh yeah, this is like there's a gods and there's like this tower, but then they sort of bring it into like a more modern way of like, it's the tower,
like,
but it's really this like battle royale, beating everyone else, not just sort of beating the environment.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, just the story in general of him finding like going up the tower or whatever really reminds me of this book called The Timekeeper, is my favorite book of all time. And basically at the start of the book, it's the story of how like Father Time was created basically. And it's like about this guy, and he finds out how to calculate hours and days and weeks. And his wife gets sick and is dying. Meanwhile, his childhood friend is building this tower to go fight the gods. And this guy is supposed to, he's the one who's gonna go talk to the gods. But then the guy who turns into Father Time, in an effort to save the woman that he loves, basically climbs the tower, and God punishes him for it. So I don't know, like, I don't know, it just sort of reminds me of, like, people doing things for power and people doing things for love, and how, in this story, it might turn out that, like, changes the tower and that's a good thing, is also still...
Yeah, and I don't know, have people reached the top of the tower? I don't know. I think that's a question we're supposed to be asking. I'm not sure if we just missed something. I don't think we did, but maybe we did. Yeah, I don't know if people have reached the top of the tower. I think if the answer is no, and nobody's actually done it yet, if he is the first person, I think that there's going to be some sort of tragedy at the top. I think it's going to be like an Icarus sort of...
like flying too close
to the sun. You reach too high for the star. Like, you sort of reach beyond your means.
Like I was just saying, like,
exactly,
it doesn't matter the reason, you're still doing the same thing.
But maybe because he's doing it for love rather than greed or personal gain. Again, these are very like basic religious, like foundational human concepts that they're dealing with here. So if they were going to keep with that theme, I think that's what's going to happen by the end, or at the end of the series or the end of the season. I'm not sure which. They're going to reach the end. He's going to be confronted with the reality of this tower, and then.
And that reality might potentially be the girl being completely different, like Rachel being completely different or dead. Because they said by the time you see her again,
she'll have changed.
Yeah.
So and that's a common.
And that that could just be I'm just saying this, or that's a warning of it's not worth it.
Exactly. It's not gonna turn out how you think it is, and again it's that metaphor, that religious idea of flying too close to the sun or pursuing a higher level, a higher status,
trying to become
for the wrong
god
reasons. Doing it for the wrong reasons. That's like a common religious idea, but that's based on like if you're pursuing your goals for the wrong reasons, then it's not going to turn out the way you think. And even if you pursue it for the right reasons and you think it's going to turn out one way, you don't know what the reality of your ambitions is until you get there, and it'll change along the way. If you decide to go to school for something, you might change your major. And it's all in pursuit of a higher goal that's above you.
And this also, I don't know, just your thing of Attack on Titan reminds me also.
Well, spoilers for Attack on Titan, by the way.
Okay, I had two things.
OVA? Is that what you're talking about? The Levi's backstory?
No, I was talking about Armin's parents.
Oh, right.
How they're like, and then in turn, Armin himself, and then he inspires like Eren and stuff. Like I feel like that's like also like the sort of like the entire thing, and then multiple stories within Attack on Titan as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a common theme in Attack on Titan of what's beyond the walls.
Yeah.
When they get there, it's not quite exactly what they think, and along the way, because they start out. We gotta get out of these walls. We gotta charge into the future. And then before they even get out there, it's so many things open up that like completely change or threaten to change or completely demolish their ideas for their ambitions or their goals. So also, they could, with all the things they learn, they could, and this goes for this show, this goes for real life as well, it could alter or destroy your ambition or what you think that you want.
I was also going to say, so Rachel in this wants to go to see the stars, which is kind of like Armin wanting to go and see the sea. Yeah. Like, just a very basic, like, I just want to experience something that seems amazing that I've never experienced before. And then, what's the guy's name in this?
Bomb is his Korean name.
Okay, so, and then Bomb is kind of I guess it's kind of the same thing, like, going after something, and then I'm sort of wondering if there's going to be a character in this, maybe that doesn't like the system, kind of. Mm-hmm. Like, if there's going to be, maybe even that's the princess character of, like, that something needs to change here because the way that things are is not a way to live. Yeah. Kind of, so.
Yeah, I guess we're just going to watch the second episode. We'll see how it changes, but I think for the next episode it's going to be more... I think we're a lot of those like basic questions are going to be touched on of all these big concepts. I think are going to be a season long or a series long thing, but these basic concepts of where does this dragon man come from? What's the deal with guns versus swords and bows and stuff? All that sort of basic world building stuff I think will at least be touched on, and we'll be introduced probably to that blue haired guy who I thought was a girl at the beginning at this next episode. But make sure you check out that. It's going to be posted tomorrow, the second episode of the series. Check out our Gleipnir reaction, which should be posted. However you say that, it should be posted around the same time as this episode, or at least today. And check out our other reactions and subscribe, or we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.